Hey, welcome back. We're reading The Science of Getting Rich Remixed by Misty Barron, read to you by the author. This is Chapter 7, The Law of Gratitude. Gratitude isn't just polite manners. It's not the Hallmark card you write once a year or the thanks you mumble before hanging up a call. Gratitude is a law of wealth. Waddle said it plain. Gratitude connects your mind with the formless substance, the infinite intelligence behind all creation. When you give thanks, you stay plugged into source. When you don't, you unplug and the signal dies. Think of it this way. Gratitude is Wi-Fi for the soul. Every thought of thanks sends a strong signal to spirit. Every complaint is static. Gratitude says, I'm online, ready to receive. Complaint says, signal lost. I live this daily in my work. When I install telephone systems, the final check is calling the front desk from every hotel room to verify the room number displays correctly. At the end of each call, I say, thank you. 200 times in one day. 200 times my nervous system registers gratitude. My body feels appreciation. My mind aligns with increase. By the end of the day, gratitude isn't something I'm trying to feel. It's wired into my system. That's not accident, that's training. And that training has made me one of the most sought-after installers in my industry. Clients don't just hire me for my technical skill. They hire me because I leave their spaces feeling better than I found them. That's what gratitude does. It doesn't just change your thoughts, it changes your presence. This isn't poetry, it's physics. Action creates reaction. When you dwell in gratitude, the formless responds by bringing you more of what you're grateful for. When you rehearse dissatisfaction, the formless delivers more of that too. It's brutally fair, which is why Waddles warned, never spend your thought life dwelling on poverty, cruelty, or mediocrity. Not because you ignore reality, but because whatever you fixate on, you multiply. You can acknowledge someone's struggle without making it your mental obsession. You can witness injustice without rehearsing it on repeat. The difference is between seeing a problem, awareness, and feeding it, fixation. Gratitude fuels faith. Without gratitude, faith shrivels. You can't hold vision steady while complaining. It's like trying to steer a car with the brakes jammed down. But when you give thanks, faith blossoms. Gratitude proves to your own mind that increase is real, right now, and that proof makes you bold enough to believe in your bigger vision. Here's the part Waddles pressed hardest. Gratitude and complaint cannot coexist. If you complain, criticize, or resent, you sever your connection to the creative plane and fall back into scarcity and competition. Complaining doesn't solve injustice, it multiplies it. By focusing on the wrong, you give it energy. You tune to its frequency and you end up feeding the very thing you despise. Think about our world right now. 24/7 news, endless social media feeds, viral outrage. Criminals become celebrities because our attention glorifies them. Acts of violence are replayed so many times that they imprint on our collective consciousness as if they're the norm. Whole industries profit from keeping you angry, afraid, and distracted. And what does this do? It convinces millions that the world is dark and getting darker. It magnifies the shadows. It pulls people away from spirit and into complaint, blame, and despair. But here's the spiritual truth. Divine intelligence is already dealing with the darkness. The Creator is not asleep. Justice is woven into the very fabric of our reality. And every act against the law of increase carries its own consequences. You don't need to magnify it with your focus. Your job is not to curse the darkness, but to light a candle, to bless, to thank, to hold vision, to stay in gratitude. Gratitude keeps you close to God. Gratitude keeps you aligned with a certain way. Gratitude makes you a co-creator of increase instead of a critic of decay. The person who constantly complains about politics, corporations, or social issues thinks they're fighting the good fight. But in truth, they are cutting themselves off from the very power that could create solutions. The grateful person, even in the face of injustice, holds a vision of abundance and acts in harmony with spirit. And that energy changes things. This is not passivity. This is spiritual strategy. By refusing to fixate on evil, you weaken its grip on your mind and free yourself to create more good. So make no mistake, complaint is the language of lack. Gratitude is the language of source. Speak the one and you spiral into scarcity. Speak the other and you magnetize increase. And yes, Waddles even went so far as to say, be grateful for those who built the systems you use, even if you wouldn't run them the same way. Not because you condone exploitation, but because the infrastructure exists, and you can use it differently. The roads built by questionable means still get you where you're going. The platforms created by billionaires still let you build your business. The systems designed by flawed people still carry opportunity. You don't have to love the builders to use what they built. You just refuse to let resentment block your channel. This isn't about condoning harm. It's about refusing to let anger at past wrongs stop you from creating future good. Bless the tools, question the wielders, use what works. I lived this when $14,000 worth of clothes and tools vanished with my stolen luggage. I could have cursed the airline, made a viral rant, replayed the injustice for weeks. Instead, I chose gratitude as theater. I wore my pink embroidered pants for 8 days straight. Each day, I posted a photo on Facebook with a new reason to love them. How they matched tropical flowers, how comfortable they were in humidity, how the embroidery caught the light. I didn't mention the theft. I didn't complain. I just celebrated what I had instead of mourning what I'd lost. My followers started commenting, "Those pants again? We love them." Some thought it was a fashion statement. Others caught on that something was up but couldn't tell what. The gratitude became contagious. People started sharing their own favorite thing posts, celebrating one item they loved instead of wanting what they didn't have. I didn't buy Walmart jeans as a replacement. Why? Because they don't carry the same value to me as my designer embroidered ones. That would have been operating from lack. I need pants, any pants. Instead, I operated from abundance. I have these amazing pants that bring me joy. On day 11, the insurance reimbursement came through, covering more than I'd lost. I finally told the story of the stolen luggage. The response? Hundreds of messages saying, "We thought you were just really into those pants." Months later, I spoke at a women's circle. The members surprised me. Everyone showed up wearing pink pants. They'd turned my gratitude practice into a celebration. That's what happens when you refuse to feed complaint. Increase multiplies in directions you couldn't have imagined. Complaint would have bankrupted me emotionally and kept me stuck. Gratitude crowned me with increase, financial, relational, and creative. Modern proof. Matthew McConaughey built his career on charisma, but he'll tell you the real fuel has always been gratitude. He keeps a daily ritual of saying thanks, not just for the big wins, but for the smallest green lights in life. A smile from a stranger, a quiet morning, a safe drive home. When he accepted his Oscar, the first words out of his mouth weren't about hustle agents, or luck. They were, first off, I want to thank God. Gratitude isn't background noise for him. It's the operating system. McConaughey calls them green lights, but Wattles would have called them evidence of the law of increase, life multiplying in response to gratitude. That steady posture of thanks has kept him in alignment with growth, creativity, and longevity in an industry designed to chew people up. His career proves Wattles' point. Gratitude multiplies what you have until it becomes more than enough. Now contrast this with the countless talented people who had everything, skills, connections, opportunities, but complained their way out of success. The actor who badmouths every director, the entrepreneur who blames every failure on the economy, the writer who resents every best-selling author. Their complaint created a repelling field. Opportunities dried up not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked gratitude, and people can feel that energy. McConaughey's career proves what Wattles taught. Complaint repels wealth. Gratitude attracts it, not as metaphor, as physics. Wisdom across traditions. Every faith affirms this law. In Christianity, Paul writes, "In everything give thanks, for this is God's will for you." In Buddhism, gratitude is called katanya, the recognition of benefit received, and it is considered the root of compassion and joy. The Quran declares, "If you are grateful, I will surely increase you." The Bhagavad Gita praises those who honor the gifts of life with thanksgiving. Across every tradition, gratitude is portrayed not as etiquette, but as power, the key to unlocking more life. Here's the truth. Gratitude is not optional if you want wealth. Gratitude is the signal. Gratitude is the magnet. Gratitude is the law. Without it, you slip into the competitive, the complaining, the scarcity mindset that cancels your vision before it even has a chance to materialize. With it, you lock into the source that multiplies life. So let's be crystal clear. Gratitude is not positive thinking. It is spiritual physics. Gratitude unifies your mind with source, strengthens faith, and ensures that your thought is received by the formless and acted upon. That's why Wattles devoted a whole chapter to it. Without gratitude, there is no science of getting rich. How to practice real gratitude. Say why. Don't just say, "I'm grateful for my job." Say, "I'm grateful for my job because it provides the income I'm using to build my dream." The because is what unlocks genuine feeling. Go wide. Bless more than the obvious. Thank the farmer who grew your food, the trucker who delivered it, the clerk who stocked it, the cook who prepared it. Gratitude expands when you zoom out. Bless the small. Gratitude for a hot shower isn't just for the water. It's for the plumber, the construction crew, the city water supply, even the engineer who designed the pipes. Nothing is too small to be sacred. Stay cheerful in trial. True gratitude isn't tested when things go right. It's tested when you lose $14,000 of luggage and still sing praises in your pink pants. That's when spirit takes notice. What to do next? Audit your diet. For 1 week, track what you consume. News, posts, conversations. Does it feed gratitude or does it feed complaint? Cut one complaint source and replace it with a gratitude source. Bless others by vision. The next time you're tempted to label someone hopeless or broken, stop. Instead, silently ask, what if they're on the verge of breakthrough? What if this moment is their turning point? Hold that vision for them, even if you can't see evidence yet. That's how you bless with gratitude instead of curse with judgment. Guard the flame. Choose 1 hour each day where you are ruthless about your thought life. No complaining, no negativity, no distractions. Just gratitude and vision. Spark query. Why is it that every time I choose gratitude, the world responds by multiplying life and opening doors I didn't even know were there? Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next week for the next chapter of The Science of Getting Rich Remixed by Misty Barron, available on Amazon. Hey, if you like this chapter, would you please like, subscribe, share with all your friends? They need to know how to get rich too. Sharing is caring.